In progress.
And welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcasting Network, and it is episode number 140 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from October 1st, 1994, taped September 5th, 1994, from the Cumberland High School in Cumberland, Kentucky. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Boo Bradley to my Tammy Fitch. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell are you doing today?
Seven, it feels like it's been so long since I watched this show and looking at the modified. I watched this show 10 days ago, like before, when I thought we were going to do it last week, and then we didn't. And we didn't do an SMW show at all last week. I had already watched it.
Yeah, you watched it before I had a blizzard.
Yes.
Just tells you how long ago that was.
Yes.
It's funny. I think I said this on the last show. I did think about, because like we knew the blizzard was coming, so I thought about saying to you, "Hey, do you want to record a show in advance?" But it's like I don't think anybody thought we were going to lose power because we've had bad snow before. So, but why would we lose power? Oh yeah, we lost power. So in case you skip the Tuesday and Wednesday shows, and why the hell would you do that? But in case you skip the Tuesday and Wednesday shows, that's why there was no Smoky Mountain show last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, episode 140, it is the penultimate episode with Bob Caudle.
Aw.
Yeah. I do have either good news or bad news, depending on your viewpoint. We were talking about this before the show began. Right now in Dynamite, there is a potential for a total train wreck of a match with Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor versus the Iinspiration, or the Iconics as they were in WWE. The match went about 90 seconds. There wasn't anything, like, from what I could tell, it wasn't anything so bad that it was worth going out of your way to see because it was so bad or something like that.
I'm sure they're both lovely human beings.
I'm sure Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter are lovely human beings. Oh, that's not who you're talking about.
And they're actually good wrestlers, but the other ones, I'm sorry, I just don't see the appeal.
I was kind of into them in NXT because I had a thing for Peyton Royce. I love that she's not one of the Gracies, but I always manage to pronounce her name like she is. But I had a little bit of a crush on young Peyton Royce. Sean Spears beat me to her, of course, but good for him.
You were neck and neck.
Yes, I'm sure if she would have met me, it might be a different story.
Yes, absolutely.
She might have converted to lesbianism. However, my fandom for her, and by extension the Iconics, did not extend to the point where I convinced myself that they were better than they were. Like I was not as pissed off as Sasha and Bayley, but I was pissed off at that WrestleMania when they won the women's tag titles over Sasha and Bayley.
When your personality is obnoxious and you can't wrestle, there's nothing there for me.
Yeah, and again, sure, they're lovely people,
Absolutely.
But yeah. Smoky Mountain, October 1st, 1994. It is the month of my 10th birthday. October 29th. I guess that'll be episode 144.
All right.
It'll be at midway through the next set of tapings.
What did you do for your 10th birthday?
I have no bloody idea. I just remember it was like a big deal because I turned double digits, but that's about it.
I have a hyper specific association with my 10th birthday. It's like a kind of famous date. Uh, Princess Diana died on my
Oh,
10th birthday.
geez.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was I either would just started seventh grade or was about to start seventh grade. So I would have been 13 at the no, I was 12 going on 13 at the time.
No. So I'm not
Um,
like a
yeah,
royal family fucking super fan or anything.
yeah.
That particular date is burned into my memory. It's just an association.
I remember right around the same time, and obviously less tragic because she was much older. Mother Teresa died, and when I was a kid, I always heard about Mother
I
Teresa, and um,
don't. This is unrelated to the podcast, but fuck Mother Teresa anyway.
when has that ever mattered?
Fuck Mother
Uh,
Teresa anyway.
what did Mother Teresa do? I honestly I can't say I gave that much of a thought into Mother Teresa in the last 30
Uh,
years of my life.
she has these famous quotes about how there's beauty in suffering and people should suffer for because it gives glory to her sky daddy, and it's just fucking really really scummy, very
I was
scummy.
gonna say I was gonna say that's a very Bible-ish thing to say.
Well, a lot
You
of
know.
shit that's Bible-ish is really fucking scummy,
Oh
and a
yeah,
lot of
no doubt. I've
the
definitely.
like the nastiest, most immoral, cold-hearted, cruel-natured people I have ever met fucking love that Bible.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I just I mean, I'm just like, yeah, that's basically where thoughts like that come from. I'm not that
Yeah.
it's a good thing, but but that's where it is. Um, and yeah, we're gonna get over with the new fans listening to this by 5 minutes into the show. Fuck the Bible. Oh God. See,
Uh,
exactly. Oh God. Um,
I'm just
I
trying
was
to. Eventually, somebody is gonna find these and pour through them, looking for evidence to cancel me, and I just don't want them to be at it for too long. So I try to put a little something in every episode.
honestly, this show might be why I have to retire from politics. What if I actually win something? Um,
Uh,
but I'm honestly better off. I think I make almost as much money doing this as I would in politics, which, Trey, you know how much money we make. That really tells you everything you need to know. I'm not corrupt enough to be a great politician. Um, I don't even remember where the hell I was going to go. Oh yeah, so I'm an atheist. So every so often, I will have a coworker who makes it their life mission to convert me back to Christianity, and they don't always know that I was, raised Catholic. So they're, basically being like, "Oh, I'm going to save your soul here." And by the way, Hangman Page just won a match faster than the Birds did in the last match, which
so
tells you how Dynamite's going tonight, at least. So
very
anyway,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. I had a coworker who I was warned ahead of time because he had just started like a year after I got hired. He just started, and it's like everybody he came across at some point he did the God thing with. And I was kind of warned because everyone kind of knew my stance on religion. And um him and I had talked for a bit before, and I was always had my arms up like bracing for the okay, at some point he's gonna bring up religion because he brings it up with everybody. And then one day he came in while I was watching. I was streaming something. It doesn't matter what it was. It didn't matter what streaming service it was on. I was watching something that was probably on YouTube, and he came in and was like, "Oh, do you have Netflix?" And I don't remember if I did or didn't. That's not important. And he's like, "Oh, there's this great show on Netflix where people look up stories from the Bible and try to decide if they could really happen." And it's like, here we go. And that's when he started with the hard press to try to convert me. And first of all, again, I was raised Catholic, but I know the Bible better than a lot of people who are still practicing religion because I actually read the fucking thing. And it always shocks people when they try to convert me that I know more about the fucking Bible than they probably do, you know? And it always makes me laugh. But at the same time, don't come up to me and try to convert me. I'm not trying to convert you to being an atheist. So you stay in your lane, I'll stay in my lane, and we'll all be happier for it. All right. That was not
Yes.
planning on going off onto that rant. Um,
You know, who else
so
is
that's
an
what,
atheist? Jim Cornette, Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
yes. And speaking of Smoky Mountain Wrestling and Jim Cornette, let's go to the intro of this week's show with Bob Caudle and Les Thatcher, and that is going to lead in to both a Bullet Bob Armstrong promo and a Jim Cornette promo.
The hour of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, professional wrestling the way it used to be, and the way you like it. Hi, wrestling fans. Bob Caudle along with Les Thatcher. We got a great hour this week. Let me tell you, nail down the furniture and mama hold on to the babies, because today we're going to take a look on tape at the latest brawl between the Rock and Roll Express and the Gangstas, and that's going to be something to behold. We'll see that a little later during the hour, right, Les?
That's true, and you won't believe what happens, so stay tuned. Also in the hour, the thrill seeker Lance Storm will be doing Battle in the Squared Circle, and we're going to draw for Beat the Champ, Boo Bradley.
All right, Boo Bradley, who is our television champion. Who's he going to face, Les?
Oh, you can bolt that furniture down for this one, too. Boo Bradley squares off with Brian Lee and Beat the Champ. It ought to be a barn burner.
All right, Primetime Brian Lee, and it's a great hour event. All right, Bob Armstrong. Bob?
I don't mean to interrupt, but you know I said I had a surprise for Jim Cornette, and This is a surprise time for you, brother. I've been in contact with the new commissioner, and he's sick and tired of all this group ganging up on people, hitting people from behind. He's tired of having to sign group contracts. He says from now on, every man will have to sign the dotted line himself. And he said also, if you ain't man enough to stand up and do it by yourself, hit the road, Jack. The one thing he did make clear was this: from henceforth, Cornette's union is illegal, dissolved, and I do mean from now on, his union is busted. And I know that'll make a lot of people happy, especially me, and a lot more who've had to deal with this group bargaining that he does.
Oh,
Busted.
Wait a minute, and here comes Jim Cornette. Cornette is...
What are you talking about? Wait a minute, what are you talking about? My union is busted! How can you do something? Well, who is the new commissioner? Who is making this rule? Shut up! You can't do this! I feel like Jimmy Hoffa! You can't do this to me!
All right, Cornette, you're going to blow a
That's
gasket.
the union!
Man, you like hearing that stuff, don't you? You like hearing that? I should give you a smack in the head.
That's what the commissioner is. The commissioner's laid the law down, Jim. That's it.
Law down.
The law is the union is busted. The union is over. Fans, we're going to be back. Don't go away. We got action for you.
Okay, so I knew about this union, and I knew it eventually ends because I kind of know what happens next in the saga of Jim Cornette and Smoky Mountain. But I could not for the life of me remember how it ended. And I didn't want to spoil anything. I know spoiling a 30-year-old wrestling show. So I didn't want to go look it up to find out for sure, but I could not figure out how it ended. And this is why. They came out on TV and said, nope, your union is no more.
This is bullshit. And as far as I'm concerned, look, I ain't no fucking scab. It labor over ownership. Every time the Smoky Mountain Wrestling is now the heel in this feud against Jim Cornette, the labor rights leader. He's being treated badly like Jimmy Hoffa.
And honestly, they're not even really explaining what that means, because it's like they've always called themselves a union, but they've never really explained what that meant. Because they never really, we're gonna go on strike or whatever. Never anything like that. It's just okay, the best we got was during this interview with Bob, where it's Cornette is negotiating contracts for the group as opposed to the individual. It's the closest we got to it. But they never really, and maybe that's why. Maybe because it was kind of okay, it's not the greatest idea in the world, so we just need to get out of it. But it's a silly way to get out of it.
You know, at one time being anti-union in the middle of fucking East Tennessee coal miner country, that might have got you lynched or shot at. But it's the 90s, and we've already had fucking NAFTA. Never fucking mind. This is bullshit. Anti-labor bullshit from the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Commission.
If Jim Cornette was in charge of those unions back in the day, they may have welcomed it to be disbanded. And they're like, how does that even work? Like, if this is a real union, how does it work for the labor or like the company can just say, okay, you're disbanded now? Like, doesn't the union have to vote on that itself? And it's like also like, does this mean that Jim Cornette, Killer Kyle, and Bruiser Bedlam now cannot be a 3-person team? You know?
This is not a very good. This is not a very good storyline.
No, and it's like it just kind of fizzled. And to be honest, though, it's like Jim Cornette's next heel group, I think, is worse than this. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
This Bullet Bob and Cornette feud is so fucking like it's been happening forever.
This show will end before that feud officially ends. By the way, Don Callis is either a lot taller than you think he is, or Lance Archer is not as tall as you think he is. Like, Lance Archer was standing behind Don Callis, and I'm like, who is that bald guy behind Don Callis? I'm like, is that Lance Archer? I'm like, no, Lance Archer's taller. Then he turned around, and it's like, he wasn't bald. He had the Lance Archer braids. I'm like, oh, that is Lance Archer.
I think Don Callis is pretty tall.
Yeah. But we didn't even, I don't even say we glazed over the intro. We didn't even talk about the intro, and for a good reason. Like, there's really nothing to this week's show. Lance Storm's going to be in action. Boo Bradley's going to defend the Beat the Champ against Primetime Brian Lee. And maybe if they would have actually explained this, there's going to be a match later on between the Rock and Roll Express and the Gangstas. But instead, they're just like, there's the most recent brawl between the two of them. It's like, okay, honestly, I thought they were just going to re-air that fucking brawl from 2 weeks ago. A great brawl, but I thought they were just going to re-air that.
See, I thought that they were going to air a new brawl, which I don't know. They aired a match from from the fair.
Well, that's also because, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the show, the Rock and Roll Express missed this TV taping, so like they had to insert Rock and Roll Express stuff that was taped elsewhere. Which actually I think and I mean, hey, I don't think the crowd cared that much because it made for a slightly shorter live event, but it's like, I like it. I like when you take things in different locations. And I know Smoky Mountain doesn't go to the same show. It's not like, it's at the Impact Zone for 6 years or anything. But I mean, it's like, I like that we went on the road a little bit. We went to see Johnson City, Tennessee, where they fought through the building and out the back door. We go to the Tennessee Valley Fair later on in this show. Honestly, I don't know how feasible it would have been. I would have liked to see an entire episode from the Tennessee Valley Fair. I liked that whole setup, even though we'll get to it, but it's like it was a house show setup. Like they would have had to enhance it a little bit, but I'd like to see an entire show from there.
There's no reason. There's no real reason why, but the naked skeleton of the wrestling ring bothers me. It has to have a skirt.
It looked really fucking weird. And I comment that I guess we finally find out what's underneath the wrestling ring. Nothing.
Yeah.
So from here we get a replay of Chris Candido using a pile driver on an interfering Brian Logan on the last show and being suspended for a month by the anonymous Raw general manager. And this is where I was like, oh God, this show's going to be a long one because we normally get an opening match at least before we go to the lengthy replay, but instead we get the lengthy replay as the opener. And I was like, man, they did not film enough stuff for these shows, did they? And I remembered you had said something to me about it a couple of weeks ago when you watched the show, and I was like, man, this is going to be quite the show, I think.
Uh-huh.
So from here we go to what was announced pretty much as our one, competitive match on the show. Beat the Champ TV champion Boo Bradley with Tammy Fitch versus Primetime Brian Lee. And the one thing I noticed here, and I should have mentioned it during the intro with Bob and Les, we have new graphics on the show. And like they aren't like giant flashy graphics, but they're graphics. They come onto the screen and tell you what the next match is. Which I don't know how
Mhm.
long that lasts because I know they eventually just do the individual graphics as they walk to the ring. But hey, maybe we'll get one of those weeks where they cut out the introductions of the opponents, so we'll get one of these graphics to tell us who the hell some of these people are.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Um. So Boo missed a top rope leg drop and delivered a headbutt to the bottom of Brian's foot. Primetime Brian Lee went for the 10 punches in the corner, but Mark Curtis pulled him away. So Boo repositioned his chain, because remember, he's a dog, so he gets led to the ring by a dog chain. He repositioned the chain in the corner and drove Brian Lee's head into it for the win. And Mark Curtis was weirdly out of position for that one. And I'll be honest, I like that finish. I thought it was a nice, creative little finish there.
Yeah, I didn't like. I noticed when the match started, Tammy was securing the chain to the top turnbuckle by some manner, and then nobody noticed until they misdirected the referee and did the finish. So it was, I don't know. I thought it was good.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, and I know Primetime Brian Lee isn't here for that much longer. I think he's here through the third annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour, which I think is around March or April this year. But it's like I was a little surprised that it was not a clean finish, but it was a decisive finish. I was expecting
Yeah,
I was expecting either Primetime Brian Lee to win or some sort of schmoz.
I love Easter, by the way, not for like any of the whatever the religious regions. I just love
Because we got
Easter
the annual
candy.
Thanksgiving. Oh, that's
It
because we're
wa-
going to get the annual
yeah,
Thanksgiving Thunder
I was
Tour.
gonna make that joke that it was around Easter,
Yeah.
and but yeah, I love jelly beans, and that's when like every company puts out their jelly beans,
Okay.
and just like Easter candy is the best candy, and then I don't know, they like it. Easter was always the traditional ham meal, and I'm a big fan of ham, so we often
What?
we often just have a ham just to mark the occasion.
Oh, ham is good shit. And I don't know
Yeah,
about you, but we had ham at Christmas and Easter.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's true.
See, I was actually concerned when you started talking about how you love Easter candy that we were going to get into a fight because I was convinced you were about to say that you love Peeps.
I don't like peas, but you know what I do like? That is like a lot of people's top tier nasty candy. Fucking
Black
circus
licorice.
peanuts. I
Oh,
don't know, not black licorice. Circus peanuts, which I got the other
uh,
day, like a bag of like Easter ones that were like eggs and bunnies and stuff.
mhm.
And I ate them all, and then I went to a different Walgreens to try to get more today, and they didn't have them. So I guess I need to go back to my original Walgreens and see if they still have that. Because my
Oh,
dad liked the circus peanuts growing up, so like I don't know, I just developed a
I,
taste for them.
I didn't mean to laugh at that, except I was thinking how old is this fucking candy that you just bought Easter themed circus peanuts? I'm like, well, it's March and Easter is like next month, so I guess it's not that bad.
Yeah, well, Easter candy goes out as soon as Valentine's Day's over.
Yeah. It's like I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking like it was like the discounted candy from last Easter kind of thing.
No,
And I
no,
was,
this is new Easter candy.
I'll be honest, I can't say I dislike circus peanuts, at least to the degree that other people dislike them. Just not my cup of tea, you know. I'm not a fan of black licorice either. I do like
Yeah.
most jelly beans as long as they aren't the black ones. But yeah. I'll be honest. I like my chocolate no matter what shape it's molded into. But on Easter, we always got a giant bunny, a chocolate bunny. My brother would get the white chocolate. I'd get the dark chocolate, and I always loved that shit. You know.
My wife always wants a chocolate cross just because she's morbid.
At least, is it better or worse than if she hung it up?
Why would you want to hang up the chocolate? You eat it.
I don't know. I was thinking about Gilmore Girls on the way home from Silent Book Club today, and that made me think. For some reason, made me think about the episode a deep fried Korean Thanksgiving, where Rory and Lorelai had to go to four Thanksgivings, and they went around, and at each one they brought a chocolate turkey to give to each of the hosting people, and they gave it to Mrs. Kim, who is very much anti-fun, and she's like, "What do I do with this?" And he's like, "Give it to the kids to play with." She's like, "Play with chocolate?" And let it be known, I try to sneak in a Gilmore Girls reference as many episodes as I can. But let's go now to a post-match interview with Tammy Fitch and Boo Bradley.
That's Boo Bradley now, and he's made good use of that chain. Tammy Fitch. Chris still out. He's got 3 more weeks to go.
Yeah, I have a little comment to make about the so-called suspension. First of all, I want to know who this commissioner is, because I don't think it's very fair to suspend somebody without knowing who is doing the suspending. All I know, he's got 3 more weeks to go, and he'll be back here better than ever. Give me my check back. But first, I have to say, I am happy with Boo, because he's taken Chris's place in all of his matches. For the next 3 weeks, it'll be Boo Bradley against all of Chris Candida's opponents. I mean, look, he just got me another check. He just took care of Brian Lee so easily. Oh, he stopped looking at me. And next it'll be Thrill Seeker Lance Storm. That'll be hard. Boo, will you stop it? Oh, I don't know. I just hope Chris gets back as soon as possible, because I need help controlling him.
Yeah,
I need help controlling. He's nuts. He smells. He's an idiot. He makes a mess. He's chewing up the sofa. All I know is
He's making you money.
Yes, he's making me money, but without Chris's check, I'm not having as much money as he should. All I know is when Chris Candido comes back, the team of Boo Bradley and Chris Candido and Smoky Mountain Wrestling will be unbeatable. Let's go, Boo.
Fans, we're going to be back right after this.
She has a point. You know, how can a governing body suspend you if you don't have the ability to confront them and defend yourself?
This is very bullshit. I am on the side of all the heels now.
Yeah, and especially because, you know, I guess I don't know for sure that it turns out that the anonymous Raw general manager is Bullet Bob, but Bullet Bob's going to be the commissioner very soon. And it's like, you know, what the hell, dude? It's like, and it makes it even dumber if it is actually him. And not that it ever was great before that, because before that it was like he's gave up the commissionership so he could have one match at Night of the Legends. And then it's like, okay, well, why are we going through this whole rigmarole with the commissionership? Oh yeah, and there was that part where it's like he gave it to his friend to hold for a little bit. Is that who the anonymous Raw GM is right now? Is his friend?
If it's, I think this might be this promotion jumping the shark.
I don't know when the official jumping the shark moment is, but I think we're close to it.
The first strong candidate was the Ricky Morton, the hair stiff that they went back on.
Oh yeah,
that was a big one. And
Yep.
It sure seems like they're just gonna try to be cute, and it's just gonna be Bullet Bob, and I'm fixing to hate it.
And the fact that I don't remember how he ends up back as commissioner probably tells you everything you need to know. Because I mean, we've noted that my memory with wrestling is basically Dave Meltzer thinks I know too much about wrestling.
By the way, you know what else is exciting and I just remembered?
What's that?
We're getting Cactus Jack soon-ish.
I think the next
couple of
taping.
months. Okay. That's exciting.
Yeah, we're getting good old JR and Cactus Jack at the same time. And I know Mick talked about it in his book, but it's kind of like he's in ECW and Smoky Mountain at the same time. And I think he's the only person who can say that. Like a lot of people did both, but I think he's the only one that did both at the same time.
Candido, because of the way stuff was airing, I think that some like months old Candido stuff was airing on ECW when he was already in SMW.
That was also, wasn't that even before Paul E took the book, right? Like that was like spring, summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was something I was going to say. Oh yeah. So I was kind of wondering, like, you know, they always do that story like Bill Watts did it on Mid-South TV where he talked about how do they write these checks to these people and how do they cash them? And he would say, well, we send a check to a P.O. box, etc. And I was thinking to myself, how does Boo Bradley cash his Beat the Champ check? Or I guess how does anybody cash their Beat the Champ check? And I mean, I guess they make it out to cash. And for some reason that made me think about, did you ever see Spin City, the TV show?
No.
Okay, so after Michael J. Fox left the show, they brought in Charlie Sheen, who, for all of Charlie Sheen's faults, I thought he was really good. At the last couple seasons of Spin City. But anyway, so there was an episode where his shoot dad, Martin Sheen, was on it, and he was conning the mayor out of a check, and for his charity, where he provides horses to people in jail to try to not inspire them, rehabilitate, people in jail, prisoners, and working with animals can kind of do that. There's been studies about that. And he had the mayor make out the check to his company, Convicts Are Saved by Horses, or by its acronym, CASH.
And I think the answer to the question you posed, I'm pretty sure that Tammy Fitch cashes Boo Bradley's Beat the Champ checks.
I'm sure she treats them with the same love and care she did for Mr. Ron Wright's check.
Yeah, I bet they all go the exact same place too.
Yep. Oh my God! About a week ago, I was going to my Facebook memories, and it was the anniversary of Mr. Wright getting out of his wheelchair. Which also just tells you a little how far off we've gotten from the same day, or how long it takes us to watch these shows sometimes, because we're a month behind. Or behind is a strong word, but So after that, we went back to the desk for another promo, this time with Jim Cornette with Bruiser Bedlam.
All right, fans, Jim Cornette, Bruiser Bedlam. You've still got to be reeling from that surprise announcement of Bob Armstrong.
Bob Armstrong. Hey, when you people go to a movie, do you talk back to the screen, huh? Why don't you sit there and eat your stinking popcorn and shut up? Bob Armstrong, Bob Armstrong. Let me just ask you a question. Has it ever crossed anybody's mind? Mind? Out there? Out here? No. Has it ever occurred to anybody who's the guy who announced Chris Candido's suspension? Who's the guy who announced the union being busted? Who's the only guy who ever talks to the new commissioner? Who is the only guy who knows who the new commissioner is?
Bob Armstrong.
Excuse me, but this is a con job, pure and simple. You know as well as I know now, Bob Armstrong is still the commissioner. You know it, Bob. It's as plain as the broken blood vessels in your nose. You know it. Bob Armstrong is still the commissioner, and this is a con job, and that's why that I'm involved in all these stinking matches I don't want to be in, and that's why me or none of my friends or anybody that's on our side of the fence can get a break, because Bob Armstrong has been the commissioner all along. This is bigger than Watergate. I have unleashed this, and I'm going to the newspapers, I'm going to the magazines, I'm going to file some grievances. But this I know. You know what made me finally realize it? You know what the straw that broke the camel's back was? The whipping match with Dirty White Boy. Because Dirty White Boy, you deserve to be whipped. But there's no way that a man could get a stipulation like this whipping match passed unless the commissioner, the guy signing all the contracts, unless he was against me. And that's Bob Armstrong. Because you see, like everybody knows, the stipulation is, if Dirty White Boy loses, he gets 10 lashes with that leather belt. But if Bruiser loses, he gets 5 and I get 5.
Not happened, Jimmy, not happened.
And Dirty, oh, I bet you'd like to see that and like to slap every single one of you. If Dirty White Boy takes a big, thick leather strap to me, he can bring blood with every lick. He can stripe the flesh off my back. And if I ask for him to stop, if I say I can't take any more stop, then I gotta leave Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Bob Armstrong written all over it, and Dirty White Boy's going along with it. You know why? Because Dirty White Boy is a redneck, he is a hillbilly, he is a ridge runner, probably drinks moonshine for a good time on Saturday nights. He is trailer park trash. But what's more, Dirty White Boy wants to prove he's a man. because he's lost his manhood in the eyes of all these people and maybe even at home too. Because Bruiser Bedlam beat him up, slapped him around, because I, dirty white boy, me, Jim Cornette, that you say can't whip nobody, I took a belt and I whipped you like a stinking dog in front of everybody. Everybody's seen the tape. And now I guess that scuzzbag old lady of yours, the dirty white girl, she's probably sitting around a dinner table saying, now, hey, Tony, you ain't got it like you used to. Maybe I need to find me some new hillbilly or some new redneck. Maybe she needs to go down to the bar she hangs out in every Saturday night while you're off wrestling and pick up 2 or 3 more bums that she can take for a ride. Unless you can whip me, dirty white boy, and prove you're a man. Because I got news for you. I don't think from what I hear there's any other way you can prove it. You know what I mean. Matter of fact, everybody's talking. You've even talked to the white girl, haven't you? So that, well, hey! He wants to do it now.
The white boy, he wants it now.
Bruiser, give it to him.
I'll go to the papers if I have to.
That's all I could think of when I first watched that promo.
I got a couple of notes.
Were you at the bars in Tennessee there on last Saturday night looking for Kimberly?
Might have been. Look, we don't need to say ugly things about beautiful people. No, I do have to note that this was a pretty solid piece of business, but Trailer Park Trash is a different wrestler, Jim.
Why wasn't there a wrestler named the Ridge Runner?
Oh,
if one of us hit the lottery, and we start our wrestling promotion, that we have to have someone named the Ridge Runner.
Hey, you know what? There's a Texas independent wrestler named Moonshine Mantell. He's already partway there.
Is this going to be like, what the AEW is accused of, that the Bucks just hired all their friends from PWG? We're just going to hire all your friends from the Texas indie scene and my friends from the Massachusetts indie scene.
I'm just gonna do what Tony Khan actually does and hire people that amuse me.
There you go. Say this was a great promo, but as we've said, and I don't know, maybe your opinion has changed. It's hard getting into this program because they blew off the match 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah,
they did Yeah, go ahead.
On one hand, it's a good promo. On the other hand, like, I'm over this program, and I think we're probably going to be over this program for the next, what do we have, about a year and a month left?
Well, if it helps, this program doesn't last the next year and a month.
It is about a year and a month, isn't it?
Well, no, but I meant like the Dirty White Boy Bruiser Bedlam program, the feud.
I meant I'm sorry, I meant I was still thinking
TV
about
program.
the Cornette and Armstrong.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Bruiser Bedlam and DWB. But yeah, they blew off this program. And here's the thing, and you can say, well, you see, Jim Cornette had all these ideas for heels to come in to wrestle White Boy. We had Jake Roberts, that fell through. We had what's his name, Conan, Chris Walker. He showed his first TV taping. They needed somebody, and instead of either doing a babyface feud or turning somebody heel, he went with Bruiser Bedlam. But the thing is, they knew this when they did the first match. It was on the TV taping after Night of the Legends, and they knew at that point they needed a new heel to face White Boy, and it's they just had what's his name, White Boy win clean. It wasn't even just he won, whatever, he won clean.
I don't know why you think I'm going to argue with you, because I said at the time that was a mistake and dumb and shouldn't have been done.
Definitely, because I think it's and I haven't gone back through this into what we said, but it's I figure if I defended it, it was probably Jim Cornette has a pretty strong track record of booking stuff, so let's see where he comes out of this. And it's like, even though they did that 6-man tag that Bedlam pinned White Boy, it was too little too late. You know? By the way, Julia Hart, I know I'm obsessed with her anyway. She's looking extra fine tonight. Just saying.
Cornette overthinks a finish sometimes.
Yeah. And so out comes the dirty white boy. Tony has problems with people saying bad things about his woman, so he gets in the ring with his strap. Bedlam followed, and we had an unofficial strap match. Bedlam got the advantage. They handcuffed White Boy around the turnbuckle, and Bruiser Bedlam put a good whooping on Dirty White Boy before giving the strap to Cornette. And White Boy was screaming, but not in pain so much as anger, because this little sissy, this little pansy is strapping him, and he can't do anything to stop him because he's tied up. And then Bullet Bob ran in with a Tennessee toothpick for the save.
Yes, and you're right to cite the nuance of the screaming, because that was that made it a lot more effective.
Yeah.
Totally not Commissioner Bob Armstrong making the save.
Yes. And I mean, I guess we find out in a couple seconds why he didn't. But when this beating was going on, I was expecting Tracy to make the save. But yeah. So from here, speaking of things I knew was coming, but I didn't know came at this point, because I mean, actually we talked about it a few weeks ago, but Les Thatcher starts talking about the Andersons. He talks about Ole and Gene and Arn before talking about Bryant Anderson, who is the son of Ole, and we pitched it to an interview with Ole and his son Bryant.
A real workout, an Anderson wrestling workout. Come on back down. Come on, Bryant. That wasn't too bad. You're about 4.5 seconds. All right, one more time. Come on, hit it. Dig it out. Dig it out. You know, right now everybody talks about wrestling. Come on back down here, Bryant. Come on. I wanted to introduce myself in case anybody has forgotten. You're looking at Ole Anderson, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, the Anderson brothers, and you're looking at the new generation of Andersons, Bryant Anderson. You know, the thing that gets me today is that everybody's dressed up in fancy jackets and fancy shirts. Here, have a towel, wipe off a little bit. They got all these great entrances with music. Well, there's one thing that's missing in all of this. At Smoky Mountain, you're going to get a chance to see somebody who does one thing better than anybody else. You're going to get to see Bryant Anderson wrestle. Wrestle. You know how to spell it? Well, I tell you what, if you don't, this guy is going to show you how to do it. There's one guy in particular that we're looking for. One guy that made a mistake when Bryant was in college, came down there and tried to show everybody how great he was. Well, Tracy, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Get yourself ready. You better do a little road work yourself, because when the Anderson gets back up to Smoky Mountain, everybody's going to be in for a real big surprise. And Bryant, I know you can't wait to take that amateur career that took you to state championships, to the junior national team, the AAU, and apply all that wrestling knowledge and all that skill and knowledge that I gave to you, and apply that to Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
No, that's absolutely right. I didn't just wake up one day and decide I wanted to be a wrestler. I didn't play basketball in college and high school. I didn't play football. I went out for wrestling. And I do that better than anybody else today. I got the scientific knowledge in my head. I've got the heart. I've got the body for it. There's two things I'm going to do when I step in the ring, and I don't care who it's with. First, mentally, I'm going to crack them. I'm going to break them. They're going to be broken down. They're not going to want to be in there with me anymore. Then physically, I'm going to step in there and I'm going to start tearing, breaking arms, legs, whatever I have to do. I don't care who it's with. But Tracy Smothers, you, 4 years ago, you said something to me and I haven't forgotten it.
Ooh, he made a big mistake, didn't he, Brian?
That's absolutely right. He sure did.
Hey,
Tracy, I'm looking for you.
Go ahead, excuse me, Brad. I don't mean to take it away from you. Tracy, right now, I bet you say, ooh, when he was in college. Well, we're out of college now, but it's time for you to go back to school, Tracy. The Andersons are coming your way.
Okay. This was great. At least the Ole half of it, to the shock of about nobody. But this is the promo that Cornette talked about on one of his things, and also we talked about here a few weeks ago. He went to the power plant to film these interviews with Ole and Bryant, and Ole ended up getting fired for it. I really like this. Again, at least the Ole part. I was confused. I read a little bit more than I meant to read from the Observer this week, so I kind of know where they end up going. But I'm like, so Tracy was in college with Bryant and embarrassed him, but it's more that Bryant was in college and Tracy visited for some reason and embarrassed Bryant.
I did not really follow the why.
Yeah. So Bryant, he had to remember when fucking Triple H had those annoying ass sideburns that led into his mustache. That's what Bryant has here.
Mutton chops.
Oh, like it was just. I hated it when Paul had it, and I hated it now. And I got to say, though, I have my doubts that Bryant is really an Anderson. For one big reason. He has way too much hair on the top of his head.
I don't think the mutton chops have ever looked good on anyone that wasn't a Civil War general.
Now, I don't know if I ever asked this. I know we've talked about how I want to do Saturday night starting from 85. Did you ever go back and watch those WCW or NWA World Championship Wrestling shows? Especially from when the Horsemen were going at the beginning.
No, I haven't.
So people who may not know this may not know this part of me, may wonder how Ole ended up out of the Horsemen and Lex Luger ended up in it. Well, Ole had already I don't say he was retired, but he had already started, lessening his bookings, and he wanted to be at home to raise Bryant. And he apparently Bryant was a high school wrestler, and Ole was taking time off to go see Bryant wrestle, and that became the storyline that he's too busy worrying about his son and not Horseman business. And so that's how Ole ended up being kicked out and turning babyface in the process, and Luger ended up as a Horseman.
How dare you raise your child?
Yep. That's funny. And I could be wrong. I may have to double check this before I say it, but what the fuck? No one's listening anyway. Do you know who Ole's partner was during the temporary feud with Tully and the other Horsemen?
Who?
Tim Horner.
Oh.
Yes. So Bryant, flashes of Mike Furness were just going through my head during this. But Bryant is a little bit more experienced. Like, I don't know if he ever wrestled before WCW, but he did wrestle as a jobber in WCW for a couple of years before this. But much like Mike Furness, when he leaves Smoky Mountain, he has no documented matches ever again.
Like, I don't expect him to be great, but I don't expect him to be Glub either.
Yeah. Poor Glub. I was gonna say something, and it's probably a lie because I can't remember it. Ole needs to teach his kid how to cut a promo, because I know he doesn't have the voice of Ole, but it's like Ole was so good at cutting a promo, and Bryant, I guess, he was a jobber, so he wasn't getting a lot of promo time, if any at all. It's like Bryant, it's like he needs practice on the stick.
Was he the one on the Dark Side of the Ring episode who called it Georgia Championship like 24 times?
I don't remember. Maybe. By the way, Yuta looks so much better bald or balding than he did with his mess of hair. Although I still contend Marina should have lost that match, but that's just me. So from here, we are going to get a quick little promo with Dirty White Boy. It's only like 20 seconds.
The Dirty White Boy.
Cornette, you take a good look at my damn butt.
Nobody on the face of God's green earth does this to the white boy and gets away with it. So what's going to happen, Cornette? I'm going to go, if I got to go back down to the gates of hell and spit in the devil's face again. I'm going to get a strap and I'm going to bust your big...
He's got every right, man, to be just as irate.
Not even a bleep, just a gunshot instead of ass. But great babyface fire. We'll say that.
Absolutely.
Yep. So I get he was sweaty, but it didn't really pop the straps on his back. They didn't really pop off the screen here.
Yeah.
Lance Storm versus Steve Skyfire. I wrote this was a more competitive match than your average enhancement match, but it's like judging by the timestamp from the end of the White Boy promo and the timestamp at the beginning of the next promo, it probably went like 4 minutes.
It did. It went 4 minutes. It was Steve Skyfire is not very good, and he couldn't really keep up with what Lance was doing.
Yeah. I forget if he's done it on this show before, but Lance broke out his cartwheel into the corner splash that one day WWE will steal and give to China. And then I can't even say for sure, but did Kelly do that too?
I think so.
It's like
yeah.
it became a quote unquote diva move. So like Lance Storm couldn't use it. You know, not that he really used it when he was a heel, but it's like he had no chance using it once it became a woman's move. Which is so not fair, but especially at that time, it's like, you know, it sounds, well, I mean, it is mean, but it's like, you know, women could only do certain moves, so it's best to not take it from them.
Yeah, and that's one of the moves that they could do, apparently.
Yep. Lance Storm with the tornado DDT.
That was
he
cool.
talked about, yep. Did you ever read, well, calling it books is probably a stretch of the word, but did you ever read Lance's ebooks, which were a collection of his commentaries from his website?
Yes.
Okay, so one of them, and I don't know the date because like these were commentaries from like between 2000 and like 2004 or whatever, whenever we left WWE. But one of them was about how the month after Night of the Legends, because Jericho was injured and Jimmy had no idea really what to do with him at this point. They booked him in a match in Knoxville against the Hornet, and Lance was like, what the hell am I going to do with this guy? Everyone knows I'm going to win. It's a waste of time. And he was able to come up with a believable false finish for the Hornet. He learned, even in a meaningless match, he learned something. And I thought about that here because according to him in his commentary, the Hornet did a tornado DDT out of the corner for his false finish.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So let's go to another promo. This is backstage at the Tennessee Valley Fair, New Jack, followed by Ricky Morton. And yes, they have their partners with them.
In front of them cheap TVs, you know, ball, and watch what's getting ready to happen. Me and Mustafa getting ready to drop the Rock and Roll Express just like we promised, and I don't care if you like it or not, but you got to accept the fact that we gonna have the belt, and whether you like us, we don't care, 'cause we don't like you either. Get ready, sit down in your stinking dog-smelling chairs, and watch what happened when New Jack and Mustafa ripped the Rock and Roll Express apart. It's been your pleasure, and I'm out of here.
We're here at the Tennessee Valley Fair. Just here in a few moments, you're going to see us defend these titles against the Gangstas. You see Gangstas, you come around here and try to roughshod everybody here in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Well, it's not going to work. What we're going to teach you boys is a little respect.
I think that was the most safe for work New Jack promo we've ever heard.
And it was still fucking tremendous.
Yes. It was like 30 seconds. It got the point. It's like, you rednecks are going to sit here and watch what we do to the Rock and Roll Express, and whether you like it or not.
Yeah, believe it.
Yep, I believe it. And it's funny because it's like I wrote the timestamp, but like when Ricky Morton started talking, I'm like, I must have this timestamp wrong because like if this timestamp is right, he only talked for like 10 seconds. Ricky Morton only talked for about 10 seconds. So
was all he needed.
Also, I just thought about this now. Did you notice that not only was this New Jack promo very PG and safe for work, they didn't put up the New Jack's views are not those of Smoky Mountain Wrestling or this television station disclaimer.
Maybe because it was a fair show. New Jack is for the children.
Oh, God. Just like imagining like Smoky Mountain Wrestling New Jack taking pictures with kids at the fair, doing a meet and greet. Like little white honkies and.
Oh yeah, he's told the story of some little white kid had come up to him and touched him or brushed his arms. What are you doing? He said, "Well, my dad told me if I touched one of y'all, it would rub off."
Oh, God. Yeah, there is nothing I can say to further that. So let's go to the match. It is straight. Actually, before we got to there, we didn't even get to the match first. We got another replay of the Rock and Roll Express Gangstas fight from 2 weeks ago. You remember the
parking lot.
Parking lot. Oh, God, Chip Kessler. You know that when he becomes the play-by-play guy in 6 months, I'm so gonna say straight from the parking lot, Chip Kessler.
Wonderful.
And you thought WrestleMania 11 was bad before. Now it's really bad because Jim Ross leaves. If there was no WrestleMania 11, Jim Ross would still be commentating Smoky Mountain Wrestling to this day.
I just thought it was funny. Because that was the same weekend, it might have been the same day as the weekly pro wrestling Bridge of Dreams show, Tokyo Dome show.
It was April 2nd, 1995.
And Fumi Saito got sent to cover WrestleMania 11.
Oh, God. Poor bastard. I still contend that WrestleMania 11, don't get me wrong, it was, one of the worst, but I don't think it was as bad as everybody says it is, but that's just me.
That is one of the ones that I have only seen one time.
You really don't have to see it more, I guess, but it's one second. I think it's one of those times where it's when people watch some modern day WrestleManias and you watch them that was a good pay-per-view, but it was a bad WrestleMania. I think there's a bit of that with that show where it's especially for 1995 WWF, it was a good pay-per-view, but it was a bad WrestleMania. So, how many pay-per-views, say what you want about it being a one-man show, but how many pay-per-views do you have a match the caliber of Shawn Michaels and Diesel?
Yeah.
And their no holds barred match a year later was much better, but it was honestly, considering that the WWF title was mostly held by Hogan, it was probably at that time in the top half of WrestleMania main event, or not even WrestleMania events, WrestleMania WWF title matches.
Yeah, it would have been in the upper percentile.
And it's I know it was what it was with Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor. It's they kept it simple, stupid, and Bam Bam lost his run as a top babyface, and
because I'm sorry, I was thinking about it. Hogan Warrior, which is a miracle.
Hogan Savage,
which is a brilliant match. And Flair Savage is very good. But yeah, it's the list.
Yeah. And it's okay, we all get it. Hogan Andre is a much more famous match. That doesn't make it good.
Yeah,
it has a famous moment in front of a giant ass crowd of indeterminate size, but it was not a very good match. And it's is it I think Dave gave it -5 stars at the time, or something close to that. It's not a -5-star match.
It's not.
It's not a 4-star match either.
It's a spectacle. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and it also helps that like they never replay anything from that match, and Hogan Andre has one spot replayed in perpetuity. So
Yeah.
you know, nothing. The greatest WrestleMania match of all time, of course, being the Allied Powers versus Jacob and Eli Blue, which was the opener. I don't even know how the hell I got to this, but let's go back to Smoky Mountain from October of '94, 6 months and 1 day before WrestleMania 11. So this is, I wrote, no ring aprons, and this solves the mystery of what's really under the ring. Nothing. He says this feud has literally set Smoky Mountain Wrestling on its ear. And this is going to be our second Mick Foley reference, because I'm like, this is probably why Mick Foley came into the territory, because you heard Smoky Mountain has ears.
Yeah, just extra people laying on them.
Yeah. Do you know why Mick Foley could never feed his children corn? Because he only has one ear.
Ha ha ha.
I told that to a dozen people. One person laughed really hard. The others were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I feel like that's usually how my jokes go. Yeah. But usually that one person is you, by the way, who laughs hard. And the other 11 are the ones that hate it. Shockingly enough, they get the heat on Ricky. The Gangstas, I always love this. This is like one of my, especially 90s tag team wrestling, this happened a lot. One of my tag team wrestling pet peeves. So a lot of tag team matches, especially at this point, they always do the fake hot tag, where the babyface in peril makes the hot tag, but oh no, the referee's back is turned and didn't see the tag being made, so he can't allow it. However, and this happened a lot, I remember, in Ming and Barbarian matches too, where it's like they would just switch places and the referee like would notice but never would enforce that, hey, I didn't see a tag. And I always hated that. I'm like, you need to enforce the rules fairly across the board. And yeah.
Are you going to be the one to tell Haku and Bob Marion that they can't do what they want?
Nope, but I feel safer telling New Jack and Mustafa in 2026 that they cannot do what they want.
Man, that's sounds like some shit I need to do on Fire Pro. Can I do the Faces of Fear against the Gangstas?
Oh my God, that might be quite the spectacle. It might be a barn burner.
Mm-hmm.
So Gibson got the hot tag and began to clean house. It did look a little dirty there, so good on Robert. Double drop kick, but Curtis was busy putting Morton out of the ring. Jack came in and used a nightstick on Gibson for the pin to win the titles, and to quote Chip Kessler, "Oh no, oh no, oh no." But thankfully for Chip, the Rock and Roll Express, and everybody at the Tennessee Valley Fair, the anonymous Raw general manager came out and restarted the match. So Morton used a roll-up to win. And where was the anonymous Raw GM to point out that Ricky Morton was not the legal man? Because Gibson was the legal man, so why was Morton allowed to make the pin?
Because these baby faces can do whatever they want.
I mean, Mark Curtis, this was probably like the 14th match he probably refereed that night, so like he was probably like whatever at this point.
What Smoky Mountain card? Like a Smoky Mountain double shot didn't have 14 matches on it.
Maybe a TV taping.
Maybe.
All right, so let's go to close. Well, it's not really a closing promo, but I'm not playing anything else after this. Rock and Roll Express and Bullet Bob Armstrong.
Thank you for coming down, because ever since the Gangster has been in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, they tried to run over the Rock and Roll Express and use us for a stepping stone. And right here at the Tennessee Valley Fair, we had a title match with them, in which we hit Mustafa with our double drop kick, how we have won many titles with. Well, by the time I turned around and looked, Robert was counted out. And then I found out that New Jack had hit Robert in the back of the head with a blackjack, the same things that they used on me, and won the match. Well, Bob, I want to thank you for watching and coming down and letting us know what really happened.
Well, let me tell you this. I was watching for another reason. Not only was I interested in the championship match, the new commissioner called me and asked me. He knows the problems you had with the Gangstas. He asked me as a personal favor, just watch the match, see that nothing gets out of hand and everybody gets a square deal. Well, you guys didn't get a square deal.
Bob.
I saw the man hit him in the head with a blackjack. And to me, that ain't fair, brother. And I like to go by the fair game.
Yes,
you guys are the right winners. I think you're the just winners. You got the 1, 2, 3, and for my money, you are the champions.
Thank you, Bob. That's right. You see right here, we are still the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, the Gangstas didn't get a square deal, though. You know, got pinned by the wrong man. They may have actually pinned the unlegal man anyway. I didn't even see if they pinned Mustafa or New Jack. So, like, they really got fucked here. This whole fucking show, like, the heels are getting fucked left and right on this show here.
Very unfair. I'm very this anonymous Smoky Mountain commissioner that's totally not Bob Armstrong is upsetting.
It must be Hornswoggle, because who else could it possibly be?
Yeah.
So I looked up this show, the fair show. It was September 16th in Knoxville, the Tennessee Valley Fair, drawing 850 people. And the opener, and I imagine these were people who were just at, in the area or whatever. Susan Green pinned Leilani Kai, which, for trivia purposes,
awesome.
Susan Green and Leilani Kai wrestled in Smoky Mountain. Bob Armstrong beat Jim Cornette and Killer Kyle in a quote-unquote handicap match when he pinned Cornette. Chris Candido pinned Brian Lee, which, by the way, well, how is Chris Candido pinning Brian Lee? Well, I guess it aired last week, but he got suspended, on a show taped 2 weeks earlier, but we'll give that a free pass. Smoky Mountain champ Dirty White Boy beat Bruiser Bedlam by disqualification. Tag champs Rock and Roll Express beat the Gangstas when Morton pinned New Jack. And the Dirty White Boy won a quote-unquote battle royal with everybody who has a penis in the match.
Leilani Kai is on Twitter now, and she just, I don't know, it's so charming because she just loves wrestling, loves watching wrestling. It's adorable.
She is a nice person. By the way, I said everyone with a penis. Bob Armstrong and Jim Cornette were not in that match. But the other 9 people were.
I mean, I don't like to make assumptions. I don't like to make assumptions about people.
I mean, I guess it doesn't have to come out, but I mean, generally speaking, no one's ever mentioned Susan Green or Leilani Kai being transgender. Or are you saying the other way? We can't know for sure that all those men actually have penises.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
So Jack Perry has a giant pair of scissors. I'm like, is he going to cut his hair? Is he challenging somebody to a hair versus hair match? He's feuding with Ricochet, who's a lot of things, but he's also famously bald.
I thought that Jack Perry was about to have a George Weingroff moment.
Whatever happened to George Weingroff?
I know. I mean, we haven't had George Weingroff's massive penis on the show in a long time.
On any of the shows, because he's on 3 of the fucking shows. He was on Smoky Mountain that time.
Yeah.
So next week we're gonna have our $10,000 battle royal here on Smoky Mountain. Maybe if they would have paid Caudle that money, he would have stayed in the territory.
That trip across the mountains was getting hard.
Oh, but for $10,000, maybe he would have done it. Hey, I don't know. They didn't say who was in the $10,000 battle royal, so maybe he's in it. Maybe he, gets in at the end and tosses out the last guy, shocks everybody with his bald head, and picks up the win.
Maybe.
By the way, I think we've discussed this, but some of my favorite commentary that Jim Ross and Paul Heyman ever do was for the Immunity Battle Royal at Survivor Series 01.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta love it. It's like, they were great in general, but like that commentary, to me, it's like the Steve Austin Owen Hart match from Survivor Series 97 is like the best Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler commentary. Just those two playing off of each other. And yeah, every so often, two people, a legendary duo, has a great as one great match together.
Yeah.
All right, so we barely gone an hour, like an hour and 5 minutes. So I feel like we're almost cheating the people if we don't come up with something else to talk about. You know. So David Finlay signed with AEW tonight, or I don't know when he signed, but he debuted on AEW tonight.
It's good.
You seem very impressed. Mance Warner and Steph DeLander quit TNA.
Yeah, I saw that because like she's injured and they wouldn't clear her, so they quit because like they're married, aren't they?
I believe so. She got injured like well over a year ago. She had a neck injury, and she's been cleared by doctors, but for some reason TNA won't book her to wrestle.
Maybe gun shy about Chris Bay, since that happens.
There you go. And it'll be interesting to see, and I'm not hoping somebody else breaks their neck, but it'll be interesting to see what TNA does the next time somebody gets hurt. And I was actually thinking too, it's like, do you think this, I know they're not, obviously they haven't been sold to WWE, but do you think this is an overreaction to we are in a relationship with WWE and WWE wouldn't, probably wouldn't clear these people to wrestle either?
No. Maybe, but I don't think so.
Yeah. And I do think it's interesting because like nobody seems to like say whether or not TNA has agreed to release them. Because here's the thing, like you can quit all you want, but like ask Mercedes Moné and Naomi, it's like if you have a fucking valid contract, you can't get out of it unless they want you to get out of it. And mind you, like if you watch Impact, it's not like Mance Warner was really doing much anyway, so it's not like it's a big loss off television or anything. I liked SDL's romance with PCO, and obviously that ended because of the PCO thing with him leaving the company too. But yeah.
Too bad.
So yes. Is that good?
Too bad.
I didn't catch you. What was that?
Too bad. Sorry about your damn luck.
Sorry about your damn luck. What was the better James Storm singles theme song? That original Sorry About Your Damn Luck song or Long Necks and Rednecks?
I think the original one, because the other one was kind of stupid. Although, you want to talk? Have you heard? And I can't imagine that you would have. Have you heard Chase Owens' like New Japan theme?
No, I haven't.
Since he started doing this Lone Star Outlaw bullshit, and he has like a poncho and a fucking. He's trying to look like a gunslinger, like he's a badass, but nobody believes he's a badass because everybody knows he's Chase Owens. But anyway, he has this music that's like. It's like so on the nose, like parody of like epic country outlaw dramatic shit that like it's kind of charming.
Okay. I always laugh like I interviewed Chase Owens forever ago and I talked about this before where it's like it was not a good interview. And maybe we would do better now because I'm a much better in my opinion, I'm a much better podcast host, and I think I'd be a much better interviewer nowadays. Now that I also have many years under my belt of actually talking to people, but it's like it was not a good interview. He was very monosyllabic, and it's like I had to stretch to get it to like 15 minutes because I'm pulling questions out of thin air to ask him because I'd have like my list. I would come up with a list of questions to ask, and it's like it like with a good guest. Like Dave would take an hour and a half. Like Brian Alvarez took about 35 minutes, but like he took 15, and that was with me stretching as much as I could. And so like my plan was to just like not promote it, but like not like, go balls to the walls and get it out there and get everyone watching and listening to it. And then he tweeted it. The good news is, hey, I got a bunch of listens, but I was like, really, Chase?
At least there's that.
Yeah. I do always laugh that like my last ever episode of my original podcast was after years of trying to get a guest from TNA on the show. I finally got Drew Galloway, who was the TNA champion. That ended up being the last episode of my podcast.
And then you started the real run.
Yes. I waited almost a decade because this started in 2022. Well, we taped it in July. It started airing in August of 2022. That's why it's always hard to tell you what my birth month is or our birthday month is on this show, because it kind of crosses over 2 months depending on how you look at it. By the way, I saw my former co-host tonight. He continues to ignore my existence, and I just ignore his.
A lot of weird experiences with people.
Did you say I have weird experiences with people?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna. In case somebody actually listens to this show, I'm not gonna sit here and tell the story on the show. But it's like, if I'm very willing to take blame for anything I do, it was not my fucking fault. If you're a grown-ass adult and you do something you regret, own up to your fucking mistake. Like, it's not my fault you did something you regret, especially since it had nothing to fucking do with me. Like, I was there when it happened, but it doesn't mean it was my fucking fault. But, yeah, that's... I guess that's enough here before I really open up the can of worms here. All right, so that's going to do it for this week's show. We'll be back next week, barring, the power going out or something. And that's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.